Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful. When the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. Man, I'm so hungry right now, and I spent so much time eating, and I still want to eat more. And the light won't turn on. I'll fix that. Okay, but first, let's go and look at the charts, right? So yesterday, S&P 500 had a little bit of a mishap with the CPI, and then we recovered and it was like all fine, and I was like really shocked and surprised by the degree of upside, but then the 30-year auction came along and everything fell back down and tested those lows, and then overnight they actually tested some of those lows again and have since retraced. So we're in a really interesting spot, and the E-mini could be a key decision point. The treasuries, of course, like fell down hard, but they are recovering a little bit overnight. So, you know, I think that there's a lot of reason to be concerned about interest rates raising at the end of 2022. But you know, the downside on there is limited. So what the correct value is, I don't know. Or oil's still doing really well, did really well yesterday, and overnight a little bit of a dip, but recovering it. So oil still seems to be a good place to be. Gold and silver today finally moving. And copper going. So, and then the dollar, of course, is a really important one. Dollar was up yesterday because of the equity weakness. But now falling back today, which I think makes a bit of sense. So we've got the PPI number here coming up, and let's see here. Oh man, like I think that my machine something is hung. I don't know what it is, but something must be hung because I'm not everything is coming through. So PPI month over month, the forecast is spot 6, the previous reading spot 8. If it did come in at spot 6, in line with expectations, I think that would take a lot of the inflation fear pressure off. Okay, let's see if we can fix. See, my Elgato control center is like stuck there. But like the funny thing is that if I come over here, there it is. It's like I couldn't find it to kill it. Yep, it crashed hard for some reason. Elgato, please fix. I've been getting that since the beginning. There's just something wrong with your tray application. Look, now you can see me. Hey, how are you guys? Hey, I'm looking good right there. I like that. All right, and let's make sure that the text speech is on and that the news squawk is on. And, I must have misclicked there. Don't want an order out there ahead of the PPI. That'd be bad. That would be such a no-no. After this, I think I want to take a look at Bitcoin. Something I didn't know was that we're getting some pretty ugly downside in Bitcoin, but I don't know. I guess today maybe they're okay. There was a bit of a dip buying. But some people were saying, I had a TikTok video that went off last night, and one guy was saying, Bitcoin and Treasury, they're correlated. And I have seen periods where that was the case, but overall, I've kind of found that Bitcoin does its own thing, but I think it's worth investigating with some of our tools. So, all right, so remember, the forecast is spot 6. There's kind of a little bit of selling going into this in the Treasury. They're pulling hard. Oh, it is higher than forecast. 1.0. The Treasury buys? What? The U.S. Producer Price Index for final demand increased 1% in June, seasonally adjusted. Final demand prices rose 8%. Nearly 60% of the June advance in the final demand index can be traced to a 8% increase in prices for final demand services. The index for final demand goods moved up 2%. The prices for final demand, less foods, energy, and trade services rose 5% in June, following an increase of 7% in May. For the 12 months ended in June, the index for final demand, less foods, energy, and trade services moved up 5.5%, the largest advance since the 12-month data were first calculated in August of 2014. Well, the S&P 500 seems to like that. My, oh my. The Treasuries initially moved up and then down. Okay, I guess Powell is speaking right now. So they might be reacting more to Powell. What was that? Oh, that sound? That sound indicates that there was some slippage in the S&P 500 index. Steve Mnuchin doesn't think inflation is transitory from CNBC. Okay, coming back to this chart here, this report. June. Foods. See, foods was a lot higher in May. So, total trade, warehousing and transportation, not as high. Trade, transportation and warehousing went up. We know that because of all of the like cost for containers went up. No, the effect of the news very strange. The reaction in the Treasury seems really weird to me. I did not realize that Powell is speaking right now. Chairman Powell, I have on my chart Fed Chair Powell testifies due to testify on the semi-annual monetary policy report for the House Financial Services Committee in Washington, D.C. Doesn't seem to explain it. The treasuries are moving up, though. Well, I don't see anything. You remember the CPI is a lot more important of a report. I'm not seeing anything in the inside of the report or anything on Twitter suggesting any like super key insights that we don't glean from the headline number. I'm a little perplexed, though, at how you get 1% versus 0.8% month-over-month inflation for producers, and that is a buy. All the things. Semi-annual monetary report. Okay. Still a ways off from meeting Fed buying taper threshold. Officials expect progress towards conditions allowing asset buying pullback. Fed policy will add powerful support until the recovery is complete. I think that they might be reacting to the Fed. When you get lower quantity for the same price, that is still inflation, in my opinion. Well, you've seen all this stuff about that especially with food that they've been hiding price increases from consumers by just decreasing the amount that they put in the product and not changing the price. Sneaky, sneaky. Ooh, the Financial Times tweets BlackRock's assets under management swell to a record $9.5 trillion. So I have a question. At what point does the size of an individual index fund become a concern? You know what I'm saying? Like, at what point does that become like too difficult to manage? Well, I think because I am so perplexed, I have to just sit this one out. I was hoping to try clicking or something, but I'm not quite sure why they're buying. That doesn't seem to make much sense. I can remember experiencing this in grocery retail. Our store brand yogurt in 2008 went from 12 ounce to 8 ounce, but ugh. I do have some food. I'm still hungry. I'm gonna eat this oatmeal. All right. You're hungry because you don't eat right? No, I'm hungry because I didn't have my shake last night, I think. But I eat plenty of meat, my friend. Okay. Important point here. If Fed is to continue these taper discussions in coming meetings, quote unquote, we may not get the taper signal at Jackson Hole, tweets News Squawk. And FX Macro, they were retweeting FX Macro saying, so I guess Powell is not going to announce the taper next month in Jackson Hole. That's what's going on. Because there was a really big bet. Somebody was placing a big bet on Jackson Hole. That must be why the market's buying up. I don't think it has anything to do with the PPI. Salim's dietary advice is the best advice. Well, so it's protein spiked oatmeal for starters. I don't know if that makes a difference. All that oatmeal does is spike you up your insulin. But I already ate bacon and eggs. So, but you have to get some carbs. Where are you supposed to get your carbs from? Probably I should be having a banana instead, but I didn't have any bananas today. And it is like steel cut oatmeal. Or not still cut. It's old style oatmeal. Yeah. It's not the oatmeal. Not the only thing I ate. I tell you, here's what happened. On Monday, the workout plan was squats. One set at 80%, or sorry, one set of 8, and then a bunch of sets of 3 going up to 80%, 3 sets at 80%, and then a drop set of 10. A drop set of 10 reps. That is some heavy squatting. So that got the furnace burning, you know what I mean? But then the other thing is that I usually have a casein shake before I go to sleep. That keeps the system going overnight, and it also kind of helps my gut because then I'm less likely to get into a period where there's not really anything in there, because it's when the food comes in and has to re-expand the gut that it hurts. So I probably should be eating more calories overall, but I really should be eating more vegetables overall is really the issue here. So the main takeaway, Powell, is in no rush to tilt hawkish in light of the firmer June CPI, but lawmakers will heap on the inflation pressure in their questions, so this leaves potential for some hawkishness in his Q&A today and tomorrow. The eggs are all right. And there were the eggs that came from my chickens, so they're good. They're a little bit more yellow. I like it. I hate these mixed reactions to the news, too. That's why I hate trading them. If you think his breakfast is bad, 2 jalapeno cream cheese, taquitos, an energy team, and oh man, it was and cigarettes. You know, one of the things that's really interesting to me is the number of traders that smoke. Like, you ever seen the movie? Well, of course, you've seen the movie, The Big Short, and Steve Carell's character is like a compulsive chain smoker. Like, that is just so much trading, I think, is like, it's stressful. What do you do to deal with the stress? And I think that a lot of people, they turn to smoking. Yeah. I'm not ready to die or anything. I see what you're saying, Izzy. No self-regard. Oh, man. The worst thing about my smoking is I started at 22 and knew better. Oh, man. No, it's the nicotine, man. So obviously, me being Utah boy, I've never smoked before, but I have smelled cigarette smoke. And I tell you, as soon as I can smell it, I can feel a difference. So, like, I understand why people would do it. I totally get it, because, man, that has got to be one powerful drug. Like, I can only imagine what that's like. You're actually smoking it and taking it direct from the source rather than the secondhand smoke. It probably instantly calms you. Smoking hash. Oh, did you see this story today? I saw this story today suggesting that Schumer, it was the president of the Senate, was going to introduce bill to decriminalize marijuana. Can you believe that? As a smoker, I still don't understand people who say they like the flavor. Oh, I hate the smell. Especially the menthol smell. Oh, I hate that. You know where so the thing is like when I was DJing, like in my mind, the smell of a rave, like especially an outdoor rave, is cigarettes and alcohol. Like I can just smell it. I think that both of those things smell disgusting. Every time I smell alcohol, I'm like, how does that like taste dramatically different from how it smells? Because how could anybody stand ingesting that? It smells so disgusting. There is this strange thing where people say I smell cigarettes, but I don't smoke, but I eat 10 raw. You eat 10 raw eggs in the morning? No, what? Are you actually, is Salim, we're wrong, he's not Salim, this is actually Gaston over here. 10 that I drink so much I smell like alcohol when I'm sober. Smell is, oh yeah, oh man, I knew this guy. So the thing is I didn't know. When I was a missionary, I didn't know what these things smell like. It wasn't until I started going clubbing that I started to associate what some of these different smells were, in particular marijuana. Oh my gosh. Ugh, the smell of somebody smoking marijuana, that is the most repulsive smell ever. Oh my gosh. I totally get this whole thing with like people, their neighbors are smoking hash and they report it just because they don't like the smell, you know? It's just the worst smell, and it's always like that at a rave. You're sitting outside, everything's all cool, you're chilling, you're having a good intellectual conversation or something. I know, like it's totally the thing that Seth would do, right? Have an intellectual conversation with ravers, but and then somebody lights up a blunt, and everybody leaves. Yeah, all of those things. But when I was a missionary, I didn't know what those things smell like. So there was many times where somebody would invite us over to their house, and I'm like, these guys seem a little off. Like they're a little bit too friendly and kind of saying dumb things. And then one time I saw it on the floor. I was like, oh, that ice. Okay. We should go, Elder. We were going. And then there was this other one. The worst one. I met these people. They had the same last name as me. So that was how we like gained rapport. We're talking to these people. I think I've told this. Uzi will remember this story. We started talking to these people, and they are so friendly, and both of them really wanted to talk. So one of them talked to my companion, and the other one started talking to me, and they just kept talking and talking, and they would not shut up. It was like, okay, it's been like an hour, we have to go to our appointment now. Bye. Like, you know, they would just not stop yapping. And later we found out like that they had meth. Like, oh, so when was the last time that you did meth? Oh, the day that you met us. I see. And that's the day that I learned what a person on meth is like. When I first smoked weed, I was hard on it in the 2000s. Regularly smoked until about 2010, started giving me panic attacks. So for the last 10 or 11 years, I might take a hit there or there. Huh. Yeah, anyways, the one that was funny about this one is that they had this daughter that was just like really stupid. Like these people like were probably doing it their whole lives and raised their kids in that environment, and their kids were just dirt stupid. Like, I'm just not kidding. And there was like their 16, 17-year-old daughter, talking about being excited to go to some party. And then when she went to that party, she got drugged and raped. I was like, didn't see that one coming. I didn't see that one coming, but in retrospect, I probably should have seen that something bad was going to happen at that party, right? And then one day, because we started getting on them, like, you know what? Like, this is the stuff that you're doing is not okay. Like, you need to change. Some other Christian church had come in and told them, oh, like, everything is fine with you. You need to do anything. And so she started being, like, really rude to my companion. He told her off. I'd never seen anything like it, that guy. Was the power of God took him, and what he was saying was not earthly words. I tell you what, he told them off and warned them. That was the last we ever saw them. I had a graphic designer friend try to get me to do coke, but I had to hit him with a newspaper like a bag dog. Oh man, I've never done anything else beyond that. I've never done anything ever. I tell you though, on the marijuana thing, I have so much mixed opinions on marijuana, because like at the point that it is, and with as popular as it is, can we really justify making it the crime that it is? It seems a little crazy to me, right? At the same time, I've definitely seen how marijuana can cause harm. Everybody on the internet seems to want to make it out like it's harmless, that it's just harmless fun. But I've seen it destroy people's lives. Not only just like destroy their lives, like they never went to prison or anything for it, but it's just like they started taking it and they started making bad decisions and things. Yeah, Edwin says it's a gateway. So there's that. But then the other thing is it just makes the people stupid. Like I had this group of people that you could talk to them about things. Like you could talk to them about how the music, even you could even talk to them about political things. And then after they started doing dabs, that's what they would do, is they would do the thing where they would like really take like a really strong hit all at once. Once they started doing dabs, it was just like they became stupid. Like it was not worth talking to them. They couldn't say anything intelligent anymore. The way that their brain worked wasn't right anymore. It was like you'd say one thing and the thought that it would trigger in their head was like completely useless and stupid. It makes you dumb. It makes you dumb. So it's like, I don't know if I can justify making it illegal still, but it certainly is not a good thing for more people to be smoking weed. Weed is one of those things that regular people who smoke it are fine. It's the people who make it their culture that ruin it. Yeah. It seems like probably there's like really adverse effects on your brain structure if you're doing it too much. I don't think I had met anybody that they had made it their culture, but they did too much. They took a few too many. As he says, I smoked very regularly for a good decade and it never impacted my decision-making ability, i.e. habitually bad decisions, but it did start to impact my health and comfort. Wow, that's interesting. At the same time, I have a brother who works on a part farm. Legal. Oh, S is legit. His wife, and he's dumber than a sack of potato, lives in someone's attic, couldn't hang on to $1 if you glued it to his face. Oh, I see. Wow. I don't know. You know, I have never necessarily, I don't know. The thing is like, I feel like the people that I've seen where I felt like it ruined their lives, I felt like they were already on the road to making bad decisions to begin with, you know? So I'm not sure if it was like it made them like make worse decisions. It was just like you could tell in the conversations the way the way that they thought, like it affected the way they think. Give him better stuff. Like it's probably great if you're creative, but for the kind of stuff that I do, for the kind of things that I think are gonna move society to like its next level of prosperity, I don't think it's a positive thing. But. As he says, I lean more towards the it's not a big deal side because of my own experience. Yeah. Gus, continuing to see this market just go up is making me mad. I am a little bit, it is a little bit scary to me right now. That is like almost exactly what I was just thinking, Gus. Like I'm looking here at the S&P 500, 4380. I don't think that that's an all-time high, but it's just like a little skip there, right? Another 5 points. And all because of a read that the market is making about about when the Federal Reserve is going to start talking about tapering from his prepared remarks to Congress that's not actually saying anything about it. That's all it takes to move the S&P 500. Freaking, how many points was that? 60? No, I guess 10 points. Like that's all it takes to move the S&P 500, 10 points now. Is just getting a little crazy. And I'm a little concerned about what the market does when the Kool-Aid stops. Especially in light of what we're seeing in inflation numbers. Because, like, it's interesting, the TikTok that I made that took off was one about inflation. Because somebody was saying, oh, these numbers are totally normal. Like, you take out the outlier with the autos, then it's like no big deal. And like I was thinking back on it, I was like, well, last CPI report, that's almost exactly what I said was, look, all of these numbers are actually pretty tame and in line with what their predictions were, except for the auto sales, which is like a really an unprecedented situation. And it's not something that I think you could blame on monetary policy, right? Then this latest report comes out. And this latest report, I'm looking like the expectation was high. And they just absolutely decimated it again. It was just way higher. Totally crazy. And every number in yesterday's report was high. Food was high. Shelter was high. All of the CPI components were high. And then somebody comes out and they're trying to say the same thing that I was saying last time around. I was like, no. Like, I'm not buying it anymore. That report really changed my perception of things, at least in the short term. That report really changed my perception of what's going on. And I am very concerned that there are a lot of transitory inflation pressures that are going to give rise to more persistent inflation pressures. Okay, like this thing going on in the housing market, I don't think I can blame that on transitory factors. If anything, the moratorium on evictions is making it, it's just going to get worse, because when the moratorium on evictions goes away, some of this inventory will clear through. I think they'll go through it very quickly, and the rents are going to rise across the board, and then everybody's really going to be panicking to get into houses, right? I just, and with the amount of money that's being printed, it's like, it seems to me that the printing money has resulted in inflation, just not in consumer price inflation. That inflation has all gone into the market, but it's reflexive. Like, that can feed back into the rest of the system. And I think that we're starting to see that. And it's like, if we get another 2 reports of the same, like if next month's CPI is above expectation and the months after that is above expectation, like at that point, I don't think that anybody in their right mind can justify saying anymore that it's not a problem. And what you're seeing right now, Chairman Powell doesn't seem to be backing off in the least bit. That CPI hasn't changed their mind at all. If it becomes a problem, if there's a point at which they have to admit that they need to do something about it, it's going to happen so fast, right? You imagine a day, like, just imagine for a second, what if Chairman Powell had come out today and said, we're concerned about inflation and we're going to raise rates soon now. Just like that. What would happen to the market, right? That would be like an instant 20% decline in the S&P 500. And the bond market would just get decimated. Like that would be the sort of thing that could almost instantly push you into a recession, So that's what was kind of going through my mind. And makes me feel a little sick just to see the S&P 500 move up that easily off of something that seems like so nothing, like in between the lines read about Powell's meeting notes to Congress is just like, it's so crazy to me. That's a chicken that's going to crater when it comes home to roost, I guess. Upside. So Uzis does have some upside targets, but we're already like almost touching those. Well, it was pretty crazy up in the Treasury too, wasn't it? First Cuban demonstrator killed after police opened fire on protest. If Cuba successfully suppresses those protests, that's going to be like the second or third time now that regimes have, it used to be when I was a kid that those protests were always resulting in regime changes and were good. And now it's like the governments of the world have learned to be able to just hang on to power. It's a little scary. Oh, no Futures Trader 71 trader bite this morning because of the PC is not operating properly. That's not fun. Well, I've got 2 more bites here. U.S. launches another attempt at regime change in Cuba. I have to say, it sure seems awfully suspicious how these protests seem to have come out of nowhere and that the media is like so intensely interested in it all of a sudden. But what you gonna do? Okay, so here's something else, okay, about the Federal Reserve. Why is it if we're not doing, if we haven't reached our goals on employment, if we haven't reached our goals on employment, why is it that we have to maintain like the most accommodative monetary policy ever? You know, that doesn't quite square away with me either. That like the whole reasoning for it seems suspect. How do you justify that? You know what I'm saying? Like, isn't there a point at which you say, okay, but we can back off on the monetary stimulus because the economy is so strong that they will get there on their own and they don't need our help? Like, where is that? Why is it that if we're below the target that the Federal Reserve needs to actively pump the system, right? Like, I don't think that that's the correct application of monetary policy. Unless the underlying fundamentals are really not that great and they're just kind of avoiding saying that because they don't want to panic people, you know? I don't see how you justify this current policy unless there's like a real problem under the surface, which probably there is, because if they raise rates at all, the market would just totally flip. Good morning, Ace. It's going to be interesting to see what Ace decides to do here. I mean, I would assume go long, but like that was a strong up move. They know long. Okay. So what happened, Ace, was we had the PPI number, which you would think has a lot of interest around it, given what happened with CPI yesterday, right? But apparently, Chairman Powell's opening statement to Congress that happens later today, long after we're done streaming, apparently that was released at the same time. So when the PPI came out, the PPI was higher than expected, just like the CPI was. So I would expect the treasuries in the S&P 500 to sell a bit on that, right? And then they bought up, and then I started hearing all this stuff on the Squawk about Chairman Powell. So then I'm reading through it, and what it seems like they're saying is, they don't think that Powell is going to announce any kind of tapering at Jackson Hole. And I don't know how they make that determination from the notes, but like that's basically what they're reading, right? And that's why the S&P 500 was up. So we were just talking about how it's a little scary how it's just some between the lines read on Powell's comments is enough to move the market up 10 points. And it happens right at the time as like real economic news, and it's completely contrary to it. So I didn't really understand what was going on, and I correctly didn't take a trade. So that's why I was interested to see how gung-ho you would be about getting into one. But it seems that there's no, it's crazy the things that move the markets. Yeah. But it seems like that you don't have a filter that says like, in this situation, I'm just not going to trade it. What are your thoughts on micro treasury yield futures? Will they trade similar to treasuries and be as thick? Well, I am super excited about it, Z's. I do have a video on the channel about it where I talk about the structure of it and how that will affect the instrument, because there will be some differences between it and the treasuries, okay? One big point is that you don't have to worry about the dollar value of a basis point because you're trading the basis points directly. So I think that there is going to be a lot more spreading in that instrument. But like basically you're going to have retail traders doing spread trades with that instrument is probably how it's going to get used the most. So will they be thick? I think probably. Now the thing is that when you look at the basis point difference, because it's like 1 basis point, or not, it's not even 1 basis point. It's like 1/10 or 1/100th of a basis point is worth $1 over there, right? And when you translate it over, it's like 2 ticks in the new future will be equal to like the treasuries, right? So I would expect that you could get like a lot more liquidity. Like here we're getting like 3,000, whatever. But then I think that if you translated it over to micros, that you could be getting like 10,000, 15,000s. But then you split it out, then yeah, you're going to be like 5,000 to 7,000. So that's what I'm thinking. Of course, I don't really know, but I'm thinking that those treasury yield futures will have, thousands of lots per level. That's what I'm expecting to see. Will there be more movement than Zen? Yes, there will. I mean, so like when you get these situations where the ZN just rotates around a price, like, all right, have they been doing this now for a long? Well, they moved up a little bit, but we were rotating around 11.5 for a while, It's like they'll trade 12.5 and they'll trade 11.5, but they really just can't get away from the 12. Like the 12 just always has low liquidity, right? So 3-tick range essentially will be a 6-tick range over there. So probably there will be more movement and probably some weird stop runs and stuff from time to time on it. Yeah. Determining no trade here is a trade. That's how I look at it, to combat impatience, take pride in staying out of bad zones. Yeah. I don't think I'm as good at saying that I have no trade as I should be. Because you'll notice here's what I will do is I will say, I don't think I have a trade. And some days I'm really good at it and I don't take any trade at all, period. But usually what will happen is I'll take a trade. Okay, you know what? I'm going to turn my algorithm off because I'm seeing some things I don't like. I'll tell myself no trades, and then the S&P 500 will open up and I'll see maybe a little bit of opportunity come in, so I'll take one. And then it's like, if that's a loser, then I like make up for all of the sitting that I did, you know? And then all of a sudden I'm on sim and I'm taking a ton of trades on sim. I think that I'm probably developing some bad habits with that. That is an advantage we retail traders have. We don't have to take a trade. Yeah, I agree. The thing is, if you had the ability, so like a market maker, a traditional market maker, they had to put a bid and offer out all the time. Like that was required of them to have a best bid and a best offer in order to be considered a market maker. So they didn't really get a choice in what side they were trading. If there's a big move, that big move was always against them, essentially. You know? So for a retail trader, if you use those same methods and you had unlimited risk, but you could pick which side you wanted to be on, you should be able to make money almost every time. Yeah. It's kind of interesting when I've started getting into some of the more market making sort of signals, the more I'm like, you know what? If the robots weren't there, it would be so much easier. It would be so much easier if the robots weren't there. Oh well. Bank of America's Moynihan net interest income is expected to rise at Bank of America. Yeah, now with micros, sim trading is less than trade one. Yeah, it totally is, RJ. Like really think about it. That move that we had yesterday, 16 ticks, times it by 2, $30. I mean, come on. Even a really big move on one contract is like pocket change. One big move in those new micros will be equal to like your average trade in the ES micros, right? It will really truly be tiny. Like it will be really hard to justify trading sim. Unless there's like really truly no trade. Well, I shouldn't even say that. I think that we will either trade the micros or we just won't trade that day. I think we'll have to turn into that. Well, with micros, you can't cheat because you can have a green number at the end of the day, but did you do trades you do live? Yeah, you're right. Like the thing that I'm having a really hard time dealing with right now is that you can make money from taking on risk, essentially. And so when you have a sim account, you can just take on excess risks and make money that way. And that will tend to work out most of the time until the really bad one happens, you know. I'm starting to come around to the idea, though, that there is not a ton of edge left in the market in the equity index space that I can get without taking on risk. That makes sense. Yep, widen stops or average down, exactly. Or even not even averaging down. What I do is I'll martingale it, right? I'll be like, well, clearly this was the bad trade, but now that we've got something going, I have a much more clear picture of what's going on. So this one, I'll do it with 2 contracts and let it run, and I'll make. I would have made my money back on that one trade anyways, but then because I've doubled down and everything, it ends up being like an awesome winner in the end. That's happened so many times here, especially since so often it's been that they sell the open and then there's some huge dip buy. And I kind of justify it in my mind, as like that it's entertaining. And that it is an interesting exploration of taking on risk to make money. But I think that the risk is it's creating a bad habit. ES is forgiving on bad trades because of the way it rotates. Yeah. So the thing that I've been trying to do research on, like here's the thing about these yields that really truly excites me. Okay, I can find a lot of empirical research and scholarly studies that identify very clear inefficiencies in the treasury market. I'm not seeing them in terms of like, here's a technical pattern, and if you trade the outrights, you make money doing that, right? Not that way, but they have strategies, and there's more than one study showing this, but 2, by the way, where they look at common fixed income trading strategies and show that they make more money than the buy and hold strategy. There's a couple of different ways to trade it. So remember that there is like with the yield curve, there's a few things that you can trade it, right? You can trade the outright direction of them, whether they go up or down. You can trade the steepness of the curve. So the curve's like this, whether it's going like this, right? Or you can trade the curvature of it, because the curve tends to curve, and somewhere between the 5 and the 10 is kind of where it turns over, and that changes. That has a lot of mean reversion behavior in it, right? One of the things that's been going on lately that's kind of weird is that the 10-year has been higher than it should be. We've often seen these moves where the 5 and the 30 kind of move more or less than the 10-year does, right? But that has a tendency to mean revert, and it didn't mean revert for a long time until that huge move up that we had last week, right? And then there's this skewness of it, which is something else. But I digress. I don't completely understand that one yet. Right. And these are all things, and there are like rules that you can apply onto it. For instance, you just look at what the current regime is, right? Like right now, the general overall direction is going to be down in treasuries, right? Eventually, eventually the Federal Reserve is going to taper and increase rates. And so the part of the cycle that we're in is that the treasuries are going to move down, right? So you can kind of apply some filter rules to it based off of that and everything. And then you can make money doing those things. Now, the problem is that all of those strategies that have been discussed, as they are done in the literature, are done with the actual bonds, and are often like one of the one that seemed to work the most or the best was like trading two adjacent bonds, like ones that were like, issued a month apart, like 10 years, but they were issued a month apart, and making money from the curve that way. So will that translate? Will we be able to take those strategies and translate them into trading the micros? I hope so. But the other issue is that some of those trades might need to be more swing trades and intraday trades, which we would be able to do too, because again, the margin on them is going to be so ridiculously low. What did you think of the CPI yesterday, and how does it relate to the bond move you mentioned in the last video? Okay, it's a good question, Kyle. I haven't really gotten into that. Wait, what's this other thing you guys are saying? You should work with Tasty Trades. Well, if they like me and they'd like to talk to me, they can always contact me. South Africa? Oh, that's interesting. I haven't heard anything about South Africa. Okay, so the CPI yesterday, you can maybe rewind back earlier in the video and you can see a lot of commentary about the CPI, but I'm going to say the last report I said, well, this doesn't look as bad as the headline number does, okay? But all of the things that I saw in that last report that made me say, okay, like it's not so bad, this new report, they were all bad. So I think that this new report really changed my opinion about the inflation issue. Like, I'm not saying like, hyperinflation is coming, sell all the things, something's going to happen. But it's just that in my mind, the amount of concern that I have over that issue, is like coming right to the top now all of a sudden. And I'm going to bet you that in the next month, it's probably going to be a lot like this month, where it's like, then people will chill out and they'll forget about it, and then the number will come up again and it'll be really big, and then everybody will be concerned about inflation again, right? That's what seems like it's going to happen. But how does it relate to that move that we were talking about in my video? Well, the thing that what I'm trying to do in those videos, and what I'm trying to do with the TikTok videos. So if you don't follow me on TikTok, you should follow me on TikTok. Although a lot of what I'm going to say is just going to be the stuff that I say on stream. But there's a whole nother set of conversations, and you can have a different kind of conversation there. So it's really useful still. I'm not trying to make a prediction. Do you understand? I'm only trying to state current market conditions, historical tendencies. Okay. Not trying to make a prediction or give you a trade per se. I'm just trying to give you the information that you might be able to use to make your own prediction. And the thing that I was kind of trying to get across in that video was that a lot of the factors that were moving the treasuries up were likely to be factors that might not be permanent, that might be very short term, right? And that's why, when you remember when I was getting to the end of the video, that I was saying like the treasury has a tendency to mean revert. And so it wouldn't surprise me if we saw this move kind of unwind a little bit. Well, I think that's what you saw the past 2 days, right? Came back. Oh man, where are we going? Who is ZH? Oh yeah, Zero Hedge. Oh, okay. I haven't seen the Zero. I didn't see the Zero Hedge story about that. I have to go and look. 10 years from now, you'll find a mask in your pocket and say, wow, what a weird world that was. Then pick up your machete to cross the wheels. I've seen that before, yes. Probably more humans have experienced that over the eons than we have now, for sure. Yeah, not predicting. Of course, those who have been longer here know you don't do that. Yeah. Well, it's hard because sometimes I do have an opinion and it'll come out, and sometimes I seem to have a bias on a certain direction, and I might not even have a good reason for it, you know? So I want to know. I didn't turn the robot on. I had the robot on. I turned it on for a little bit. I was seeing some really extreme order flow to the sell side that did not make sense. And it looked to me like it had mostly to do with that the volume in the ES just kind of dried up a little bit there going into the open. Like if you look right here, like look at this time period, right? You know, didn't create a whole lot of bars. You know, those are 5-minute bars and there's only a few little price changes in them, right? So that's why I turned it off. You think some of the bond move was expecting these higher than expected numbers though? Remember the other day you thought markets were strange and somehow the number delayed to show? No. Well, so the thing is, I don't really remember what happened on Monday. I don't know. On Monday, they were kind of down. So maybe they were. But at the same time, I'm also kind of like, you know, those highs and that whole stop run happened well before the CPI, you know? Like, there probably was some timing involved in there, right? Like, if you wanted to get out of something, or if you were kind of trying to set yourself up for the next phase, you would want to do that all before the CPI. You would want to, like, let that whole thing go and move up and then reposition yourself short for the CPI, right? So I don't know how you would sort that out, but maybe that sort of thing was happening. I have to say, though, yesterday, we haven't talked about this, but yesterday, remember, we had almost 100,000 contract sell imbalance in the 10-year treasury, which I'm not sure I've ever seen it that high. When it's a couple tens of thousands, that's usually a pretty big move. So 100,000, that's like a monster move. And then it completely retraced without the cumulative delta coming back at all. How does that happen? I mean, that is just crazy. That kind of absorption and pulling on the offer to move it back up, that's a little crazy, right? And so I was sitting there like, well, maybe there's a contrarian read on this CPI number and everything. So I was trying to explain it that way, and I was really, really confused, right? And then the 30-year bond auction came. So I will show you, actually, yesterday. So remember here, I took one like right off of the news and it got stopped out. And then I tried selling it again. And that was the one that like, it actually went very favorable. I actually made 250 on that one, but I didn't take the profits. And then I let it come all the way back, and I wanted to hold it all day. Well, then when the bond auction came along and it came to that same price, I sold it again. And then I also tried doing a little market making around the close. So I actually did end up making money yesterday on Sim by again taking exorbitant risks, right? But because of the 30. So, it's often said that the treasury market is like really heavily manipulated and everything. And I wouldn't necessarily, manipulation is kind of like a loaded word, okay? But like, do people pull some strange tricks to do some things, make price move in a way that you don't get in other markets? I think that they do, and I'm wondering if that's what was going on yesterday, was that somebody had some interest rate lock sort of a thing going on with the auction. And then as soon as the auction was over, that was ready to fall. And then it finally went down to where it should be based off of the CPI. Because that move after the bond, and then, the whole market crashed, which is another weird thing. This isn't the first time that we've seen that happen, but it's not something that I saw before this era, before this post-pandemic recovery era. This whole thing where an auction goes bad and then it has knockoff effects on the rest of the market, and all of the equity traders are like, what the heck? Why is it going down? Like, they have no clue because they don't know that there's a bond auction, right? That is very new. That's something that if when I started trading, you tell me would happen, I would be like, that's extremely unlikely. Never seen anything like that. Oh, what's Jake Sherman saying here? He's saying something probably important. We will still have to see what order Schumer will bring legislation to the floor. Do Democrats bring up bipartisan infrastructure deal for a vote first, and if and when it's ready, and then the budget resolution? We believe that's the likely scenario, but Schumer will have to decide. If Democrats can't find enough support for the bipartisan infrastructure deal to break a filibuster, they'll have to jam everything into a reconciliation package. Well, Biden will tell Democrats today the president, who has as much at stake here politically as anyone, will tell the Senate Democrats behind closed doors that they did a great job crafting this budget framework. Now they have to pass it. Yeah, I don't think it's going to pass. What this means, internal agreement among Ds is a critical first step, but is only that first step. Manchin and Siema have privately signaled that they may only support a much smaller reconciliation package in the $1 to $2 trillion range. Yeah. Progressives wouldn't accept a $1 to $2 trillion deal. Sanders won agreement to expand Medicare to cover dental, vision, and hearing coverage. He lost the battle over to lower the eligibility age to 60 or even 55. So further caves will be tough to swallow on the left. Oh man, you know what? If they did that, if they expanded Medicare to cover dental, vision, and hearing, then that means that I'm gonna have a lot of work cut out for me at the day job. We'd have to go and write all that stuff. It's already a pain to deal with, like, that there's like Medicare and Medicare Advantage and all that other weird stuff. Okay. Now, let me go and look at the South Africa thing, yeah? Oh, my phone's going to fall out of my pocket. Wow, it's $250,000 to take a flight to space. Call me when it's $100. Okay. Border situation worst I've ever seen. I'm not seeing it. Why am I not seeing it? Oh, here we go. It was right at the top, and I just like completely skipped over it. Isn't it? Yeah, this should just show you how we are. Okay. By the way, the Treasury coming back down now. That's something. You see this here in the 5-year? Cumulative delta was kind of meandering, and then they sold it. The spread is maybe flattening a little bit again. So are we getting another bear flattener today? Yeah, the knob is steeper a little bit. This is steeper a little bit. Let's feel it out a little bit, but that seems significant to me. Okay, South Africa could be on the verge of collapse, and all the warning signs are there. Wow, really? Looters have targeted foreign shops, shopping centers, distribution centers, and raided gun shops. Shortages are beginning with food, fuel, and ammo. Oh dear. Over 78 have been reportedly killed since social unrest began last week after ex-president Jacob Zuma was jailed for failing to appear at a corruption inquiry. Supporters of Zuma, the nation's first Zulu president, have been on a looting spree that has crippled KwaZulu-Natal and parts of Johannesburg and disrupted national supply routes, resulting in food and fuel shortages in the affected area. According to the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa, more than 600 stores have been looted with hundreds of millions of dollars in damage. And they're looting food houses, so it's going to cause food shortages, I see. Gun store looted. Someone explains that the unrest from Zulu rioters is to starve out the white/Indians. Okay. This could be civil war. I need to research a little bit here. Hold on. I'm probably going to go quiet a little bit. Yes. Okay. Let's see if I have a friend from South Africa. I'll see if he just says anything. Yeah, he has been active relatively recently, so we'll see. We'll see. I'm all concerned now. Like when you loot, do you go for the easy to carry items or do you go for the high value or the necessities? Diapers versus cell. Oh no, you go for the high value items, dude. You kidding me? You want to go for the things that are highest demand. Like think about if the value of everything went to 0, which items would have the highest demand? Right? That's what you go for first. Okay, well, on the E-mini front, they had an okay open. I mean, they are a little bit higher. The deltas are a little mixed, and the action is slow. So we're still apparently in crappy trading mode. I think we're past enough that I could maybe justify the robot turning on again. Do you plan any masterclass on making indicators? So one of the things with the Ninja Trader programming is that I have like those basic videos, and I have a couple of backtesting videos that show you like really basics for starters, sort of a thing, and I have a video about the whole process. So I'm not sure what else I would put that would really be useful to you guys, you know? Like, really from there, it's just trying ideas, right? Go for the Air Jordans. So I think that it would be more useful if there was a particular thing that you were trying to do and having a hard time figuring out, and you asked me, and maybe it would be worth making a video about. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. The thing is with most indicators is like from the Ninja Trader side, you need to know the methods that stuff is done in. What is the method that you calculate stuff in? What is the method that you draw things in? And how do you like draw stuff, right? From there, it's the indicator itself. That's the part that I can't necessarily help with. It's like, you know, what is the math that you're going to do on the time series to get something out of it, right? About machine learning. Okay, so machine learning is something that we could probably do, but I personally have not done a whole lot with it yet, so I've still got some to learn there. But lately, my own personal research time has been spent much more on trying to learn as much as I can about yield curve trades, because I've gotten into like I thought when I started, okay, like I know what a bull steepener is and a bear steepener is and how the curve works, all of that sort of a stuff, and it all made sense. But now I'm getting into like some serious math on these subjects, and I don't know if that stuff's going to be directly applicable to our day trading, unfortunately. But okay, that's come back hard there in the E-mini, huh? So I don't know if it'll be useful in my own trading, but it is like, it is the kind of stuff where like I have to sit at the table and take notes and stuff to understand it. Thanks, Seth. No, I was not willing to take a trade. Do you believe in machine learning? Because when crash happens, machine learning is losing a lot. I guess I should say I don't have an opinion, because I haven't tried it myself. So I have looked at a lot of empirical studies that deal with machine learning, and seem to suggest that these machine learning systems can have some efficacy. The ones where I've seen it, basically what they're doing is they're saying, here's an inefficiency that we believe that we see in the market, and then they're using the machine learning to figure out how that inefficiency correlates with certain related factors that they know should be related, right? And then they sort it out. So when I look at it like that, it seems to me that it's like, it's not the machine learning that's making it profitable. It's them identifying the inefficiency correctly. I think some people have this idea that's like, I'm going to create a machine learning system and then I just apply it to the instrument and magic happens, you know? But I've seen other studies that suggest that when you kind of do that sort of a thing, that you just give a neural network the e-mini, that the performance that you get that is positive is not actually that good. That, like you were saying, like it falls apart when you get unusual market moves. So, but since I haven't tried it myself, I can't say. I guess the other thing is that I follow the algo trading subreddit really closely, and the thing that I keep seeing is these guys are using Python to try and create machine learning systems, and they're not successful with them. So I did see a selling imbalance just before the open, but didn't grab it since I wait 5 minutes after the open to get in. Well, I think it makes sense, you know, in all fairness to HF and here, because Salima's jumping on him. If depending on your strategy, you do want to stay out, right? I think when I'm trading, like what I have kind of learned is that I'm trading order flow and things like that, and correlations, that during that time the open can be some of your best trades. So for me, I think it makes a lot of sense. But if you're trying to trade like some other kind of inefficiency, then when you're going to get at the open could be completely irrelevant to what you're trading. And so it's, you know, that's just unnecessary volatility. So in that situation, it does make sense to stay out. And we should note that you do need to be careful. I think that the opens lately, well, especially here in the summer, have been pretty slow. But even in the post-pandemic era, we've seen actually some pretty gentle opens. I can remember very, very early on when I was first trading the ES or the micros, when I was first doing the micros, that there was these moves on the open where the open would jump 5 points, and it was like it didn't matter what kind of a position you had on. As a retail trader, if you tried to get in that first minute, you were just going to get thrown out, you know? So even if it's a good opportunity, I think that you've got to be really careful about the kinds of risks that you take on the open. Because that's the kind of action where you'll get this really big winner and then it will just swipe it all away from you. Machine learning disease. The issue with machine learning, I have a issue with machine learning, and it's this, that people have seen machine learning be effective at certain kinds of tasks, and they don't really understand how it works, on what it's good at and what it's not good at, and so it's starting to get severely misapplied. In ways in which I find concerning, like when it's an algorithm determining whether or not your resume is seen and you get hired, I think we have to put a lot of question behind What are the biases that we're building into this process now? Because the issue is that you're basically creating a system that has a bias, and we don't actually understand the bias because we didn't directly program it. And these machine learning functions can be so complicated that we can't sort them back out. And that concerns me. So machine learning definitely has some application in trading. I would just be really careful about relying on it too heavily or overplaying it.
Winston's mom says, it didn't matter. Likes matter. Traders, please hit the like button if you haven't had a chance to do this yet. Thanks. You know the reasons. Use numbers, Affirmationen, validation for that.
Thank you. By the way, something we didn't do yesterday. Oh man, where even did I put it on? I need to go and clean things up a little bit. So this video, if you haven't watched this video on the treasure market that I put out on Monday, you should go watch that and give it a like. Still applicable. I don't.
Uzi Knesset says I don't hit the like button because the robot voice only reads one person's comments.
I don't know why I don't use it as much anymore. I guess it's because I have to click it like every time now, and I'm too lazy to do that. There you go.
Uzi Knesset says okay fine, take the thumb. HF says at Nasdaq Trader I exploit inefficiencies, just few tick trades.
There you go. My edges specifically at speed and volatility. So I have here's a question for you to consider. If there is an edge in it, can you prove to others that there is an edge in it without using your own performance? Without using the like the even back-tested performance? Can you? That's where. So if I find a strategy where somebody can prove that there's an edge in it without using actual back-tested performance numbers, and there are ways to do that, then those are the edges that I am truly interested in, because that there is like really truly an edge in that. I'll give you an example. If I'm taking a trade and I'm going long, and I'm long 10.5 right now, and there's 2,881 contracts that would have to be sold through in order for it to take it down a tick, right? I have a real advantage there, right? Because worst case scenario, I can scratch it, right? Or I will get filled on the one tick, or it'll go up and I can get the 2 ticks, or maybe even hold it and run it, right? So like my probabilities, if I take a limit order, and of course I don't get the adverse excursion, that's a really key point, but like if I catch the limit, that just those statistics about like just with randomness, it increases your chances right then and there. So like we could go through and we could do math, but I can empirically prove to you that there is an advantage in using limit orders if you can actually get it and you don't get adverse excursion, right? So any kind of an edge where somebody can explain that there's an inefficiency that you can take advantage of, and they can explain it in that way, I think is really valuable. Versus what most people do, which is like, when all of these indicators line up, it indicates a certain market condition that people tend to react to in this way, and these are the historical probabilities. This is very different because There's nothing fundamental about the way that the market works that's going to cause that to happen. We're relying on people to behave in a consistent fashion, which is a very different premise for a trade.
NASDAQ trader says movement is better than non-movement. Predictability is speed, acceleration. At a certain speed, acceleration price need to decelerate before it reverses on you.
Okay. Bot says surprising.
Bot says surprised to see you here today, Ace, after Monday.
Oh yeah, sorry, there's the Bank of Canada there, huh? I wasn't paying attention. The E-mini did react slightly to that. So here's the thing on that on Monday is that I think part of it is that Ace is trying to just be antagonistic and argue with me for fun, right? Because you notice that the thing that seems to really frustrate me is when an argument comes down to like perceptions of reality or a thing that I don't think is really arguable. I'm just listening to the Bank of Canada statement. I don't expect there to be anything interesting in it. No, I was correct. I wasn't wrong. I went back and looked at all of that, tried to do a more detailed run out of who was who. And it was, in terms of like who had seen it, it was that first name that I had given you was a different incident. But then the other names that I had given you were all of the same. And I was able to go through who was who. So I kind of figured out, okay, this guy is the guy that saw on radar and said, hey, I want you guys to go and check out this thing. And then there was 2 planes that were sent, and each of those planes had 2 guys in it. So there's 4 guys, although we've only heard from 3 of them. I don't think that the 4th has been interviewed. And then after they came back and reported that, they decided to send another guy later with the front looking infrared, and then that's where we get the video from. So there's 4 pilots that we've seen it and the radar operator. And then there was also, I did find 2 reports from individuals who were on the deck of, and it wasn't the Nimitz, but the deck of the boat that the radar originally detected the thing from, that said that they saw it on the boat. Well, I have yet to see the evidence that multiple radar arrays are recording the same thing at the same time. Oh, so there's another point on that we didn't get into, Ace. So one of the things that happened was I think it was Mick. I can't remember who it was, but I think it was Mick. Mick is this guy that is very anti-UFO. All right. And is trying to debug all of these things. And he had like basically a debate with Elizondo, right? Who was the guy that was in the intelligence agencies and was doing the investigation for years, and then finally quit because he said, yo, you guys aren't giving me information that I want. Like they're keeping certain information from us. That guy. And he kept referring back to like radar data that they couldn't make public. So I'm not, in terms of like 2 radars seeing it at the exact same moment, I don't think it's as simple as that, right? Because there's the plane's radar, and then there's the ship's radar, and the functions and capabilities of those two radars are a little bit different. And there was some things about the ship's radar that made it hard for them to track that object, because their radar, they can only send it up like high or low. And so they tend to have it high, so when the thing would go low, they couldn't see it, right? But what we do have, and I think would be sufficient, is to say that it was detected from 4 separate entities during that time frame. The ship, the 2 planes that went out the first time, and then the 4th being the one that recorded it with infrared. Why don't we have multiple video from multiple pilots confirmed by every ship in the battle group? Why would that be necessary? What do you mean is citation needed on that? Did you not read the link that I gave you last time? In the official government report, it shows the object was first detected by the boat, that it was then scanned by 2 airplanes that saw it up close and had visual confirmation of the phenomenon, and then there was the infrared video that we have. Well, I just explained to you why multiple radars confirmed it's not such as simple as that. But that was not the assertion that I was making. The assertion that I was making was that it was seen by 4 separate radars. I don't think that you could say that they were seen at the same time per se, because their radars are all different. The report doesn't say what you think it did. What is it that you think I'm saying it? What is it that you think I'm saying the report says that you don't think it says? Correct. Not seen at the same time. Why is that relevant? Why do you think that that is relevant? I don't understand. Sorry. Let me rephrase that a different way. Why is it important to you that the boat saw it, and then they sent out the planes, and then the planes saw it, and if those were at separate times? Why is that important to you? No, that's not. That doesn't. If you see a pink elephant and no one else does, wait, I'll have the thing read it out. I should be using this more often, right?
It says because if you see a pink elephant and no one else does, what is the best explanation?
No. So if I come in and I say I see a pink elephant, okay, and then you say, oh, I want to see. Here, you stay here and watch the kids, and I'm going to go look where you said that the pink elephant was. And then you see the pink elephant, and you come back and you report that there was a pink elephant. Okay. And then Bots is like, no way. You know what? Maybe it's something weird. So Bots then goes and he has more sophisticated stuff, and he goes to that location, and then he also sees a pink elephant. Okay, why is that not acceptable? Right? Because here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people talking about this object. Right? But we do have 2 independent verifications of the same event, Ace. 7 people saw it. 7 people saw it, and it was identified on 3 different instrumentations. I'm not sure if they happened exactly at the same moments, but it was almost certainly the object identified by different instrumentations. Please point them out. You want me to go through the names again? Where does it say that? In the official government report that I linked. Well, let's go back and find the official link first. Oh, here. No, that's not. Here it is. Here's where I got it from. The Twitter. Let me just make sure that link still works. No, I'm not getting 7 stories mixed up, Ace. I can tell you like very specifically. Okay, hold on. So here's the link. Okay. So let me explain it again. Kevin Day, who was a radar operator on the USS Princeton, detected an anomaly on his radar during their trainings multiple times and was unsure what it was. So he told 2 airplanes, which were being flown by Lieutenant Alex Dietrich and Jim Slight in one plane, and David Fravor and another unnamed individual in a second plane. They went and investigated the object, and they saw what they describe as a flying tic-tac. They then landed and related what they had seen, and the command decided to go and send Chad Underwood, who was in a plane with a forward-looking infrared system that was brand new, to look at the object. And that is where we get the video that we've all seen on the internet. Okay. There was also Voris, this guy who's why did I not put down his last name? Voris also saw it on the radar. He was there working with Kevin Day. Okay. Then there is a man named Laris Omar, who was on the USS Princeton deck, who says that he saw the object from the deck. Okay. That last one is not in the report. But all of those other people are all talked about in that government report. Does the government report name them? No, it does not. My recollection is that the government report does not name the individuals in the plane, but though that's who were in this story. It's not. All of these stories have melted into S-Mine in one event. So, Ace, I just went through and I listed to you all of the names and everything involved in the event, and I gave you the link in the citation. If you are claiming that these individuals that we're talking about are all coming from different events, it is contingent on you to prove that claim, because I have just given you all of the evidence, and you are saying something that is directly contradictory to a piece of evidence that I have given you. You said you got the details to prove that. You're making a claim without claims without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. And I just gave you a claim, and I gave you the evidence, and I gave you a really detailed breakdown of what happened, including all of the names. Yeah. You have to take over. I have to leave. I did not tell it. What was incorrect about the story, Ace? See, like the thing that's frustrating about it is at first I thought, oh, he's just arguing with me to argue with me and be contrary. But now he seems to be pretty insistent. It seems to me like he truly believes this. So now I'm trying to figure out, why is it that he believes that? Did he not actually read the report? I don't think he actually read it. Like if he had actually read the report, he wouldn't be making like the thing that I find so weird about it is that he keeps making arguments that if you knew anything about what was going on, you wouldn't make, you know? Like you would know that it was a dumb claim and that it would be easily dismissed and disproven. You should put him on. I would put him on live if he would get into Discord. Yeah, I would. Oh, okay. You have to go. All right. You another day. You explain to me where that description was wrong. Answering a question here on Discord. Like I said, if you will map the report out timeline-wise, you will see who and where folks were, no corroboration. Or what you could do is you could simply point out, because I did just map, I mean, I didn't draw it on the screen, but I did map out the report timeline-wise, right? Kevin Day saw it, then the two airplanes with Alex Dietrich, Jim Slight, and Dave Fravor went out, and then Chad Underwood went out, right? So where in that timeline is that wrong?
Winston's mom says I think at A Straits is leaning into feeling that you believe in tiny blue men in silver spaceships and he worries you are not sourcing well enough. He means well even if. Lol.
I don't know. So like here's the thing. Like I had heard of the incident and I had seen that video and I was like, well, that's a pretty unusual video, but it doesn't show anything directly in the video that's like super crazy. When I started reading the report and I did a little bit more research, I started to be like, wow, whatever. First of all, there is without question an unidentified aerial phenomenon that was seen by the military on that day. I have no clue what it is, but whatever it is something highly unusual and worth knowing about. And I think that this, when I read through that, the whole conclusion of that report that was given to Congress, where they said, we don't know what it is, but we do know that there is some unidentified aerial phenomenon, and that it poses some risk to U.S. security. That was the finding in the report, right? And once I understood the Nimitz incident better, it really dawned on me like why they were saying that and why it was so specific. Because it was like they would pick a training area and go to a different place every night, and that object would be there. So it was like, how did it know where? It was like the only way that it would know is if there was like some leak in command, or if it was like somebody else, like another part of the military doing it. So I read this one thing from guys in the, or actually I think it was Alex Dietrich in his interview was saying, you know, like normally you'd go and you'd detect something like that and you'd see it. And then when you would get done and you were debriefed, they would say, oh, actually there was something there and this is what you saw. And they would explain it to you, and that, and like, oh, you can't tell anybody about it, it's super secret, whatever, right? But they didn't do that, right? So it's like they have this object that is in a place multiple nights in a row where it shouldn't be able to be, it shouldn't know where to be, But then the way that this object behaves is just inexplicable, because they're talking about something that, like, the way that it moves, like, looks like a bug. I even saw somebody went and they took that video that they took from the infrared and they turned it into like a 3D video to show how the object was actually moving on the ground. And when you see that, it's really like, what the heck is that? What is going on there? That's crazy weird. I mean, you show me that picture and I would be like, oh, that would be a bug. Okay, except for that it's an object that's like, 16 yards long. What? Did I say yards? Meters. This is something that's like 16 meters long. Like it's the size of a ship. Like, how is that possible? What can that possibly be? And so that you go through like all of the possibilities. Like, it could be aliens, it could be like a foreign technology, it could be like the Chinese or the Russians. But that one kind of gets kind of crazy because what kind of crazy technology have the Chinese and Russians discovered if that was them? That's concerning. And so I think that's why they say like it could pose a security risk to the United States. Or if it's some natural phenomenon, if it's a natural phenomenon, then there's probably some significant science that we can gain from learning what that object is, I read somewhere that China's discovered physics-defying tech. I don't know. And then you kind of start getting into, oh, okay, now I understand why, like, John Ratcliffe and Christopher Mellon were like so willing to like leak things and turn this into a big deal, because it's like this was like a confirmed incident, and what we're seeing in there, maybe it ends up having an innocuous explanation, but I think that the risk of it being something significant is like as such that it's not something that we can just ignore. Like, it's something that we really have to continue looking at and putting resources into determining what it was. Is really the big conclusion that I came to after all of that, is that we need to figure out what it was. But then you get into all this other stuff that, like the UFO people have tons of, because the thing is that they've been claiming that people have been seeing these Tic Tac things for a long, long, long time. So like a live action, you're saying, I read somewhere that China has discovered physics-defying tech, but there are reports of like a Tic Tac like object very similar to this from like decades prior. So I don't know if the Chinese or Russian explanation is as likely, to be honest with you. It certainly seems to make the most logical sense, but I don't know if it completely matches up with everything that we know. And then there's this other thing where like Elizondo has said that like they do have exotic materials. Who knows where that came from or what he's really talking about? It just gets really weird. The whole thing is just really weird. But I don't know. It's weird because the argument with Ace is that he's still disputing. I guess his argument is that he's disputing that there even is an aerial phenomenon. He's saying that it didn't really happen. That it was like one person or something, which is not accurate, but. Well, the E-mini did come back pretty quickly at first, when it was up at its highs and we identified that, they tested the other side of the open by a little bit, but overall it's kind of not really doing anything. And it kind of looks to me like the market has made the move that they wanted to make off of their reading of Chairman Powell's testimony, and that they appear to just be sitting tight until he actually testifies, which will be an hour and a half from now. The Treasury continues to push. So after they came back, there was some pretty significant order flow, especially in the 5-year, that pushed things back. But since then, it's been really solid trend up. So it seems like somebody in the treasuries thinks there's still more upside. And they are once again like retracing the prices that they were at around the time of the CPI. They're not like to be where they were above before the CPI. You need to be at 16, but it's pretty close. Like that's a very interesting, just off of Powell. When Powell starts testifying and they start asking him question, I think that we have a higher than usual chance of significant moves off of his testimony, just because of the way that the market is reacting to it. I don't think that Ace said that. His point is simply, why do we never see one of these UFO reports from 2 radar sources at the same time? Right. Well, I think I answered that, but let me try again, right? So in this particular instance, I'm not sure if there was 2 radar at exactly the same time. And you ask, well, why not? It has to do with the way that radar works, right? So what you've got here is you're out on the ocean and there's a boat here, and the boat has a radar dish on it. Okay. And the boat can send out radar waves, right? Which are electromagnetic waves that we can't see, right? And it can do it in different modes, right? One is a mode that just goes and sees stuff out on the ocean, right? And another mode is one that sees it like this, right? So the boat is seeing the object out here. There's an object. When it's, sorry, I can draw the tic-tac better than that. Okay. When the tic-tac is like close to the water or even under the water, this ship doesn't see it. And the ship was basically seeing it pop in and out of radar. So that's why the guys on the boat are like, well, that's like really weird. What the heck is this thing? Right? So what do you do? What do you do? Tic-tac is still over here, right? You get these ships. You get these airplanes. How can I draw a good airplane? Okay, you get these 2 airplanes, and now these airplanes, they can shoot their radars like this, right? So what happens is this guy sees it. He says, go out to this location and look. And then they come and look and they see it in the same location, right? Now, there's a couple of things about this that I think. So one is when these were out shooting their radar and this thing went up into the air, then the boat should be able to see it too. So I think that actually you can correlate the radar data and see. But I don't think that that is in the report because there's something top secret about how they do that. But according to Luis Elizondo, there's radar data that they can't tell us about. Okay. Right. And then they went back with another airplane later and they actually like looked at it with the infrared. Okay. So I think that probably they did see the radar at the same time. But if it was like that, what you would see though is when the Tic Tac was up here, both of them would see it. And when it was down here, only the airplane would see it. Okay. Makes sense. But another thing is that the airplanes this is a terrible airplane. There was 2 airplanes, okay? So these 2 airplanes did see it, okay? There were 2 airplanes with 4 people in it. Yeah, the boat has radar that gets fed signals from AWACS planes. So they both, planes and ships, have access to the same information. Yeah. My recollection is correct. I have to go back and look. I think that there was another plane that was not the F-16s. But the whole UFO video looks like a remake of the Blair Witch Project. But the thing that I think like really disproves what Ace is trying to say is that they sent 2 planes out. 2 planes and they saw it. So I don't know how you square that one away. Doesn't mean that it's aliens, but I think it's pretty definitive that there was an object out there. I mean, I don't see how you read the government report and say there's not an object. The military is clearly telling us based on their own military report and then the later report that they gave to Congress that there was an unidentified aerial phenomenon that shows up on radar. So, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but there was something there. I'm going to say there was something there. See, I saw this thing. Where was it? I'm going to show you this other thing. I'm honestly, I'm just trying to fill time because I don't think that it's wise for me. If my robot decides to take something, then I suppose I will take it, but I don't expect that it will. Let's see if I can find this. What was it? It was like this week. It was like an animation. Oh, that's a new one that I haven't seen. Every time I come over to this, the UFO subreddit, there's another link that I'm like, I've never seen, but a lot of it is just bullcrap. But the supposed government report that gets leaked, well, it wasn't leaked, it was like officially released. Never state in clear language that there are more than one radar sightings at the same time where one confirms the other. Does the 2 planes going out and seeing it not do that? Hold up. Let's see here. Oh, there was one. There was an E2C Hawkeye. I went and looked and saw it. Okay. There you go. This section provides the debrief of the FA-18 pilots and weapon system operators from VFA 41 that were able to get both a visual and sensor contact with the AAV on the 14th of November. So, those two. Now, I wonder, he might be saying, let's see here, this was 14th of November. This one was the 14th of November. Well, and then there's the thing about them seeing it on radar that happened over multiple days. So I think that another thing that they don't say in the report, but that I was told, but that I read from military people, is that like where they decide to do the training, like they'll change where it is. So for this object for them to see this object in the training area multiple days in a row is like super sus. That's why, like, at first they thought, well, this must be some government thing. Because otherwise, how would they know where it's supposed to be? Like, they must be testing us. They want to test out this new radar. But then they went, that's why then they went and they did all the investigation. And the conclusion that they came to was that it wasn't us. Because everything that they had at first pointed to that it was, some super secret U.S. government project. So I don't know. But both of the FA-18s made radar contact. Is that not good enough? Another thing, I think it's funny that you put in quotes leaked. Just so you know, it's Christopher Mellon, who again, what is he? The Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense under Obama, was basically the guy that leaked all this. Like they leaked it, and then as soon as they leaked it, he came out and he said, "Yeah, it was me." I guess he's allowed to do that. Oh, you can leak that. Okay, whatever. Like there's nobody prosecuting him for it. The title, today's title, some super secret government project, and we'll miss you. No, I'll never go. If something happened, so something that happened recently was that on TikTok, you're not allowed to do like financial services promotion. And I don't do that regularly on TikTok, but if it's like any like even promoting trading platforms is not allowed as far as I gather, and if YouTube adopted that same policy, I might have to change some things about the channel, but I would try to still stay here. If they would deleted my channel, then you would probably see me show up on either TradingView's streaming website or maybe like Gab. So just I have the Twitter and I have the Facebook. Like it'll probably be hard to find me at first, but I'll still be out there somewhere. You just keep looking, you'll find me. Discord will still be there. Shoots for 20 likes. Are we close? Well, we're at 14. We're about on average. You guys, it's like the same 16 of you click like every day. Is really what it is. I appreciate it. Oh, so what I was going to read this, huh? Former Navy gunner's mate shares his encounter with an unidentified submerged object in the waters near a Navy supercarrier in 2010. So this is a different incident 4 years This unknown object was operating underwater. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a weird description. Man, the E-mini's kind of fallen a little bit now. From was that maybe off of the oil report? Yeah, it's been a little volatile in oil today. His description here: I was staring into the water from above when a large, fat, white, tic-tac shaped object, approximately 20 feet in length, suddenly appeared in my view below me, moving right, and darted into the depths as fast as it appeared. I couldn't really comprehend what I saw. It was definitely a solid object. But when it descended, its forward end rapidly collapsed in on itself and disappeared. Okay. Yeah, and then they shrugged it off as everybody sees weird stuff in the ocean. It's funny. Well, I was looking for that video. I'll find it. I'm gonna find it. Maybe it was top this month. No. It was if I searched for Nimitz. Here we go. This is just a video description of the movement. I'm not exactly sure how they created this animation, but when you look at that, if that is a truly an accurate representation, don't you think that is really weird? I don't even think that is really weird. Okay. E-mini maybe trying to pull out a buy here. I'm not really seeing any signs of informed trading. I think it's just going around. Kind of weird. Kind of weird. With all these UFOs, I wonder if there are ways for objects from different places, objects to show up in and out of our 3D dimension. Well, I don't know, man. One of the things that continually kind of like pops up is like that this really is human technology. Like, hold on, I got something in my So like here's a good example right here on the subreddit. What's this picture that he's showing? Probably a document. Sure. What does this guy say? They're trying to blow the top on the projects hidden behind proxy black projects that have been siphoning taxpayer money for decades, hiding technology from the human race. Yeah, so the conspiracy theory is that these actually are U.S. objects, and that normally, under normal procedures, they would say, oh, this is what you saw and this is why. But for some reason, the military is doing something that by law they're not allowed to do, to hide the technology from us. And that if this technology got out, that it would have profound implications for the rest of the human race. But because of the military applications, they don't want to give it out or something like that. I think there's a lot of problems with that conspiracy theory. Like they would have this kind of technology, but like, why would they, if they had this kind of technology, why wouldn't they have used that to raid Osama bin Laden, you know, that sort of a thing? But I don't know. It's interesting to think about, though. Today's science is tomorrow's ignorant interpretation of things. I don't know, man. Surely there are some secret government technologies that we know nothing about. But I personally don't believe that one part of the government is hiding a piece of technology from the rest of the government. Certainly not from Congress. Can you imagine if they were hiding this technology, really was out there, and they hid it from Congress in the congressional report? That'd be really, really bad. Can't hide that from Congress. Man, was this sometimes... I think it's funny when people post multiple part tweets. Oil traders right now. Oh, I see. Apparently the oil report was like late. Shows you how well I pay attention to the news squawk. Not on a day like today. Seeing a lot of activity on Twitter, but not from the traders. Ooh. Taleb retweets something, comments on... Oh, yes. Oh, no, wait, that was a while ago. He already posted that. Taleb, you need to post new YouTube videos. We did a new video this week. Why are you not posted a video, my friend? I miss your stuff. So microcrude is going today, and they say 11,000 volume traded. Patrick Rooney tweeting that. Mm-hmm. Oh man, and then you're reminding me about the South Africa thing too. I hope that my friend from South Africa sees. I want to ask him. I want to make sure that he is safe. Oh, we're having a pool party? Yay! What day will that be? Got it. Ooh, good advance notice. Okay, cool. Talking about YouTube channels, have you heard of the channel called Benjamin? I've never heard that one. MicroCL traded volume almost double its first day traded volume. Do you think I can pull it up? Let's see if I can pull it up. Now that I'm seeing other people talking about it, maybe micro WTI crude oil futures. 1 minute chart. Drum roll, please. Ta-da! Hey, yeah, it does work. It does work. So then that should mean that I should be able to put it in. Where? Oh, it's over here. I was like, where is my market analyzer anyways? Add instruments, search, MCL, and then over here on Jigsaw, I will go to a different screen for a second. That form. MCL, okay. Da, 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 da. Well, it does, in fact, have some volume going on it. Although, will it show me more levels of depth than that? I would hope so. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Pretty crazy thin after the first 4 prices, though. We will always have Burl. What is that? Oh, this is a singer or a band of some sort. Learn to lose your life savings with Ben? Oh my gosh, he has a strange voice. Oh, I have seen that one because he's the one that did the Barclays trading strategy that outperforms the market. I watched that. Where they basically described how they were making money off of Wall Street bets traders. Buying out of the money calls. So I guess I have seen that. The Wall Street bet tier list. Yeah, I had thought at one time about making content similar to that, but then I don't know. I just didn't. I don't know if I really have a good reason for not doing it. Oh, we should go. We have some requests on the Facebook group. I should probably post in the Facebook group from time to time, but I just don't. I don't know what's wrong with me. There's never ever any, like when I think, oh, I have something to post, it's like, oh, I should make a video and put it on TikTok, right? I don't know what to put on Facebook that would like get people actively engaged on Facebook. But I don't think that you guys are like super active on Facebook, right? No, I don't need the link. I'm fine. I am a little interested in these microcrits. Like there's some It's pretty sparse, right? Like most of these, first of all, the inside, they're not putting very much, right? So this kind of looks to me like robots, these 3 prices. So it's enough that you could trade it. Well, actually, maybe because of that, you could pull an advantage out of it. Because certainly if I put a contract there on the inside, if it trades at all, I'm pretty likely to get filled, right? Look, only one contract to take it. This is going to be interesting. My thing is still, I would need to find a fundamental inefficiency in the oil market to exploit, and I think that I'd have to become an expert in the oil market, and I would rather be an expert in the treasury market. Is the problem with that one? Double mustaching is a thing. What? Facebook is still strong here in Brazil, really? I don't know. Oh yeah, we haven't given Kyle those permissions. We need him maybe a few more months. He keeps coming along around, though. We probably can give him that permission. I wish that Facebook gave you more control over that stuff, because I'm totally okay with him posting links, but I don't want to give him the power to ban people yet. E-Mini, awfully indecisive today, wouldn't you say? Never really, yeah. Cool. Well, I wish I could stay around, because I bet you that an hour from when Powell starts talking, it's probably going to be a zoo. I'm not sure that that's action that I would necessarily want to trade. I wouldn't want to trade it unless he really said something significant that really, like, for me to take a trade during that action, he has to say something that is significant enough that when I hear that, I know that there's nothing else that he could say the rest of the meeting that would matter more than that. You know what I mean? I don't know. And even if I did take that one, I don't know, because you could get these ones that just go all day, but it's probably more likely that you just get like a short move and then it's over, right? But more so than that, you're probably going to get like this really volatile movement that just whips you around. So, but where they end up at the end of the day, I think is probably going to be significant. Just holler in Discord. Yeah, you can just post links in Discord. There's a channel called Stream that's intended to be for this. Oh, maybe I got rid of it. Never mind. I think I got rid of it. Oh no, it's still there. It's down in the bottom. Under general, there's one called Stream, and that was intended to be for channel discussion. So you can put links over there. I will be over at the Burl Ives Museum thinking of you, RJ will. That was funny, man. Yeah, I guess it's time for us to get going. Hey, it was an okay day today. I didn't end up taking any trades at all today, did I? No, I didn't take any at all. And the robot didn't take any at all. I'm going to turn him off. No trades today. No trades yesterday. I'm a little disappointed, but I don't know. I do kind of wish that after that initial like big move up, that maybe I had turned it on. I did turn it on and then turned it back off and turned. I don't think it would have taken any trades either way. So in the meantime, stay profitable, friends. Thanks.